It's the first day of the EuroBasket Women 2015 final round here on livebasketball.tv. Russia, the most successful team in the history of this tournament, up against injury-ravaged Croatia, hoping to show their underdog spirit here in Sombate. A very warm welcome to the Arena Savaria from me, Tim Long, alongside former Great Britain women's head coach Mark Clark. The oldest city in Hungary is the setting for Group C of the final round. 5 of the 20 remaining teams gunning for European glory on display here in the medieval market town of Sombate. And we've just watched a very impressive Serbian side suffocate Latvia in the second half to win their opener by 16 in the end after a very close first half. And Sonja Petrovic, the standout scorer, with 19 points in that game. They win it in the end 76-60. Up shortly, the unknown quantity of Russia's youngsters taking on a Croatian side rocked by the loss of several of their key names. The other team in the group, Great Britain, don't play until tomorrow when they face the 2011 champions Russia, who are back in action again. An incredibly tough Group C, perhaps the most highly competitive of the 4 first phase groups at the final round mark.
Well, Tim, even before injuries ravaged Croatia and other players were coming and going in terms of various teams, this looked like anybody in this group could beat anyone else. So even though Serbia started so well, they lost to Great Britain in preparation. So this group could be one of those EuroBasket women groups where you've got points difference coming into play and the calculators will be out on the last day. And all we saw in the first game was 2 great teams, but Serbia just wore down Latvia so impressively. And I'm so excited about watching this Russian team. Privileged to watch them win in 2011. And then, like, shocked by their early exit from France. Now they've added a few young players, and they've got one of the most talked about young players in world basketball in Malia Vedeva in their lineup. And what can you say about Croatia? It's one of the hotbeds of basketball around the world, ravaged by injuries. They played at the 2012 Olympic Games, and then they weren't very effective at all in France. Players playing across EuroLeague teams, but absolutely ravaged by injuries. And in the end, only 11 players in uniform. It's just, it's Croatia. You can't underestimate them. And Coach Curic has a lot of success in Croatia with his club team. He has 5 members of his club team on this team. So you know they're going to know how to play together, and they know how to play basketball. They've got enough good size, they've got shooters, and in Jelena Ivezic, they have a quality player. So they underestimate them at your peril.
So much quality in the Russian side as well, but so many young players too. You don't quite know whether they're going to turn up or whether their inexperience might haunt them in this tournament. They could go on and do anything.
Well, you've got from a 33-year-old down to a 16-year-old. In fact, Maria Vedeva wasn't even born, and Osipova was 17 years old. And it just shows you the range across this team. But what they lack, perhaps, in recent international success in their departure early from France, they have quality across the roster. Players are used to winning. And the 2011 MVP in Elena Krylikova is in the lineup. So this team, I think, as an option to be a champion again. And Russian teams have got a tradition. They expect to win.
The teams have been introduced at this arena. It's now time for the national anthem, starting with Croatia. It's been a year since these teams qualified, but the final round of the EuroBasket Women 2015 is about to get underway for Russia and Croatia. Russia, champions in 2011, looking to bounce back to a disaster in 2013. Taking on Croatia, another side packed full of young, new talent. All the action from the arena, Savaria in Szombathely, Hungary, with me, Tim Long, alongside former GB women's head coach Mark Clark. In a lot of ways, Mark, difficult to know exactly what to expect from this game today.
Well, it is. We see the three officials again from Italy, Czech Republic and Bosnia, all top officials. This game's intriguing for me for two reasons. For Croatia, it's how are they going to cope? You know, you lose a lot of your key players, and you've got your experienced players, Ivasic and Iva Siglar, Iva Sliskovic. They're the guys that are going to step up and try and lead this very inexperienced lineup. But don't forget, they're used to winning. Their club teams have been successful. They play at the highest levels around Europe. Russia, it's always intriguing. They come into every tournament being expected to be in the latter stages. Be interested to see which Russia shows up as we see the roster for Croatia. And Jelena Ivkovic, number 4, is the key in terms of points production. Slivkovic is going to have to help. But don't forget, Luka Ivankovic has been in a number of tournaments. He's very experienced. And Cigar's a quality point guard that's been around the houses in terms of clubs at the highest level in Europe. But Russia, it's always exciting to watch. It's always exciting to just think about what they can do. Number 8, Elena Kirilova, is the MVP from 2011. And then don't look any further than talent than number 15. Maria Vadeva, 16 years old. Efenimi Prince will have to handle the ball, and they don't really have a standout or an out-and-out point guard. Kirilakova and Prince in the backcourt, they're going to have to combine the guard role, but both of them can score. And I think this Russian team will definitely grow as the tournament actually gets into the second stages. I can't believe they won't make the second stage from this group. I still think they're a very good shot at the semi-final. Then you're into one-off games, and anything could happen. Coach Mashinkin, every single Russian coach has the pressure of their history. The team that's won this championship the most, any failure, you just feel it personally as a coach, and the country's on your back.
Yeah, the most successful nation in the history of this tournament, especially when you include the dominant performances of the Soviet Union. In recent years, they've won titles in 2011, 2007 and 2003. Are they going to bounce back in 2015? That's the big question for Russia here
Lots
today.
of odd years there, all odd years.
Well, if they can keep that pattern going, they'll be on to a winner here in Hungary.
It's always an odd year, but they as a country, and that they expect to win. It was such a shock to the whole top competition. They struggled in the first stage of 2011 when Lithuania beat them. But as the tournament went on, they were just dominant. And I think there's an expectation you're going to be in the next stages. I don't think they're going to take anyone for granted this time. Perhaps they did last time, and that put them in a hole they couldn't get out of.
It was a disastrous defence of their 2011 title a couple of years ago. They've made a remarkable 6 successive finals before being dumped out at the first phase in France and finishing 13th overall. It's a roster full of new players for them this year to add to a few experienced ones as well. So it's all going to be about how those younger players step up on the big stage. And I imagine this is probably the game they would want to start with, do you think?
Well, put it this way, they've got a team in disarray. They've got a team that... But then Croatia, if they get some what have they got to lose? It's one that everyone coming in, it's like, oh, you're down on your players. You've had some issues. You've got all these players injured. They're still good players. They've got nothing to lose, no pressure. And it's always like the old wounded animal type thing. They're a little bit under pressure, especially at home with a basketball-mad population. If they get going early in this game, they could shock this Russian team. Then it'll be a real test for how much mettle and belief this team have.
The second game in Group C of the EuroBasket Women 2015 tournament sees the revenge-driven Russians, rejuvenated by youth, taking on the injury-hit but full of heart Croatians. And it's the Croatians who look to get going straight away, and they do with Jelena Ivasic.
Ivasic, we said she had to score. No one guarded her. I mean, absolutely no one guarded. She's the most potent offensive threat that Croatia have, and the Russians just looked at her shoot the three.
Kirilova. Here's Epiphany Prince to answer back for Russia.
Well, both teams seem to have decided that they're going to try and just sag off a little and protect the middle. They're just given two wide open looks, first two possessions down.
You're listening to the voice of former GB women's head coach Mark Clark, alongside me, Tim Long, here at the Arena Savaria. Wide open shot here for Croatia, no good from that spot over on the far side. And there's an injury concern here for
Jelena. And if that's Ivazic, that's, if things could get worse, when you think they couldn't, they just did. And if she's rolled her ankle, this is...
She looks in real pain here.
She's definitely, I think it looks like one of those scenarios where in the loose stuff away from the ball, I think we're going to get a look, I hope. I think she rolled it on someone. I think she just trod on someone's foot and she's rolled it over.
Absolutely disastrous preparation for this tournament, and now it couldn't have been a worse start. Just look at the pain etched on the face of Jelena Ivazic, a player who's averaged double figures in her last 4 major tournaments at international level, including the London Olympics. A real leader in this team as well, always a player that looks to set the tone with a hustle and determination, and this would be about as big a loss as any.
Well, you now have to look down the, if you're Coach Turic now, you look down your bench and like, okay, I'm just losing my leading scorer. Who on this bench is going to step in and take the same shots? Who in this team is like, and you can see that, hey, every picture tells 1,000 stories as such, and he just, that's a smile of someone who says, I've been dealt a bad hand.
It's happened in the first minute of the first game of this tournament for Croatia. Such a terrible blow. Russia trying to take their first lead of the tournament, and they will with Natalia Vieru.
Vieru and on the inside, the 25-year-old plus Osipova, the veteran. Those two, in the past, they've always been supporting players. Now they've got to step up and lead. Nice move to start with. That's a great sign for them.
Plenty of space here for Mazic. Can't take advantage. They will need to take those open looks if those injury problems continue. They'll need to take everything they can get against this Russian side. Epiphany Prince with the pass, and then the double team on Irina Osipova, forcing her to travel.
Well, Ivazic doesn't look in a good way on that bench. Now, like, the good sign for Russia, not so much that they've the travel, but they've tried to get inside touches early in the game. They're trying to share the scoring load, which is good for them as this tournament develops.
That's another wide open three from that far side. No good for Mijana Mazic. They've had good looks, Croatia.
Well, Croatia are too good a team. Yeah, inexperienced internationally, yes, but they're too good a team to stand there and look at them shoot open jump shots. The game has a little, and the Ivazic injury has almost made it worse in terms of a bit of a flat feel. If this Croatian team gets left wide open like that, momentum's a great thing in this game.
Oh,
that's not going to help. It's a good look by Siglar, and if you're going to make that baseline cut, you better expect the basketball, and Mazic just wasn't really ready.
It's been 2.5 minutes of disappointment and missed opportunities for Croatia to start off. They're only down by 1. The Russians trying to really get going here. Off the mark is Belekova. A real battle for the rebound, and it's gone in Russians' favour.
Well, Belekova, in the season for Dynamo Kirsch, she's just flat-out scorer, flat-out perimeter, open makes.
Here's Prince. They've moved it on to Belekova, who's open on the perimeter and knocks it down.
Didn't need more than the one-sider from the perimeter on the previous possession. And Croatia got to find a purpose in the game now. Got to find an approach that they're going to really try and believe in, because at the moment they're not really playing with purpose. Poor finish by Mazic again.
They haven't yet been able to rise to the adversity.
There comes a time for Coach Turic in this moment now where maybe use the timeout and just literally challenge your players as players. Yeah, we're in a tough hole. Yeah, we've got players injured. We've just lost our best scorer. What are you going to do? Accept it? And at the moment, you've got that feel where he really almost needs to forget that they're Croatia of all their history and just try to generate some energy on the floor. Because this team can play defense. They've got quality. They've got players who can score. Ivankovic is big on the inside.
Russia able to get that one to go to extend the lead up to 6, and Croatia do look in need of that us against the world team talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Siglar, extra responsibility on her now. Nice feed inside, the foul for the trip to the line, the basket. No good for Ivankovic.
There's an option. You know, Ivankovic is a big body, quality player. Get her down low, see if you can feed her, see if she can get some points and get some confidence into everybody else. Ask the Russians a question, say, can you stop the big girl getting the ball? They couldn't that time. She steps up, makes the free throws, but she doesn't make the first. But it's asking a question, and with Iva Sliskovic in the game, she's experienced as well, and they've got a nice 4-5 combination there. Keep trying to milk what's good for you, and Ivankovic could have a big night here. If she doesn't, it could be a long night for Croatia.
Well, she's 0 of 2 from the line now. Misses both on that first trip. And Croatia down by 6. It could get even worse for them here with Epiphany Prince. Looking to meander away inside, kicks it back out to the perimeter. And they'll go back in again, and then tangled up was Natalia Vieru.
That's great help by Sliskovic. There's still no passion out there for Croatia, but there she gets involved, gets her hands. They're not going to let anything easy happen. And she's got that personality and she's got that pride.
Prince straight off the inbound pass. A chance at a 4-point play for Epiphany Prince.
And Jankic does the unforgivable and fouls the three-point shooter in the act of. And Epiphany Prince has got a lot to prove here. She was part of that Russian team that were eliminated early. She's come in as the naturalized player. She's following in the steps of people like Becky Hammond. So she'll be here on her own mission as well to help this team progress to the latter stages of the competition.
Just over 4 minutes played. It's a double-digit Russian lead already. It could be a long, long night for Croatia. They have to find heart and fight from somewhere. Kirilova under the basket. Belekova back to the foul line. And everything is dropping for Russia right now.
Not under any pressure. They skipped the ball around, and for the 2 out of the last 3 possessions, that time it was Vieru wide open on the foul line, wide open look, just knocked it down. Bad signs for Croatia. I hope this timeout sorts them out. Well, we saw the Croatia timeout there, Tim, and the caption that came up with Ivazic being still the leading scorer on 3 points. They haven't scored since she left the game. We're now halfway through this period, and they don't look like they know they have an idea of what they're trying to do, apart from the Ivankovic post up down low. And they could be thinking, well, okay, we're going to struggle here. Let's put this one down. It's very, very difficult if you have a massive loss in the first game to pick yourself up for the rest of the tournament. They have to get something out of this game, and we're already talking about that. We're halfway through the first quarter. There's enough players out here to actually get them back in it. Slagar tries to pull up with a tough one.
They still can't stop the rot. Ivazic hitting that 3 in the opening seconds of the game. They haven't scored in nearly 5 minutes now. The Croatians, and Russia on a 15-0 run. They can try and end the drought here. And still can't. Might get a second chance to, though, with Jankic. And a fresh 14 seconds to work with. Siglar. Little bounce pass, then move backwards by Ivankovic. Sliskovic on the ball now, a couple of seconds to work with, and she does very well. And stops a 5-minute drought for Croatia.
Nice move by Sliskovic, and there's a very relaxed Russian coach. Coach Mishkin sits back, almost kicks back already. That could come back to worry him as this tournament progresses.
Osipova. And again, Russia just putting them in with ease at the moment.
No defense again. No defense again.
Siglar on to Todoric. They've moved this nicely. Steps inside Sliskovic, but runs into trouble.
Into a lot of size. That Russian front line very big.
And the Croatians just look rocked at the moment by that injury that came inside the first minute to the talismanic Jelena Ivazic.
Well, for all you basketball aficionados out there, a 16-year-old makes their debut in a EuroBasket competition, one of the most talked about young players in world basketball. And this, this is interesting, should we say, because she has, well, people will argue some of the best potential. She could become a great of Russian basketball, and that's saying something.
And what a perfect time to put her in.
Absolutely.
Here she is. We're moving over towards the far side, back into the centre now, creating a bit of room for Prince, who knocks it down, and it's almost as if Russia can't miss at the moment.
Can't miss, not under pressure, getting anything they want, and Prince had all day and tomorrow to make that shot.
Knocked away by Belekova. The Russians come in transition, and almost a foul from Croatia to say, well, I just want to stop this game. Foul on Iva Todoric. It's a 15-point Russian advantage after 6.5 minutes.
Coach Turic now has got to look for a combination. You know, he's down 15 points, 3:30 to go in the first. Let's see if they can find a combination that looks like it wants to play as a unit, wants to try and create with its defense. They get a help from the official with the offensive foul there. But he's got not, if he thinks this game is going to go because the Russians are strong, and that's the reason he's probably really being negative about it, as you see the heavy ice on the ankle, then look for a combination, find a combination that goes out and tries and find a way to be effective. He's got 3 games after this game where he's got to find a way to be successful, and Sliskovic is going to help him because she's played in very successful Croatian teams, and that's her 4th point.
And of course, there's plenty of young players on this Croatian roster as well.
Absolutely.
It's a game that's just begging for one of them to step up and make an impact, make a name for themselves. It's going to be a 3 off the mark from Kirilova. Recovered by Kirilova, though. And now a chance for Vadiva. Can't get her first points at this level. And a chance for Croatia to have back-to-back baskets and start to build a little momentum and perhaps try and find a little belief. And a foul as the entry pass comes in towards Ivankovic.
Well, again, Sliskovic gets a touch, makes a good look down low. Nice pass to Ivankovic, does another foul. They've made that play twice. They've got fouled twice. And Sliskovic with her 4 points, couple of assists. As I say, she's had success with this Croatian team and is looking to play with the pride you'd expect from a Croatian lineup.
Taken back here by Miloglav. This would be a huge boost for Croatia if they could get another score. It's still going to be their ball. We're talking about a 13-point lead, but the way the game is so flat at the moment, it's almost as if it's a 30-point lead. Yeah, it's not the case.
Yeah, absolutely, and they score this time, and they're back into like 11. Looks like they've retained the ball with the offensive work and keeping it alive. Sliskovic's got another touch inside. Nice move.
Trying to roll their opposite number. Sliskovic gets it to go, so it's only an 11-point Russian lead, back-to-back Croatian baskets. And now a real chance for them to get a little bit of wind in their sails.
And the thing, if you're Russia now, you can start to be a little bit loose and not have the options you want. Now, Prince takes a jump shot, a little bit lackadaisical, they don't get it, and then they get out on the break, get the easy 2.
With another one. So 6 unanswered points for Croatia, and it's a single-digit game again. Osipova, it's very much game on. Belekova now.
And you don't mind Stigar picking up the foul there, as long as, she doesn't get into too much trouble as the game progresses. She's trying to make something happen. We saw the poor shot or the relaxed shot by Prince, and Sliskovic, she might be the player giving them the energy to really work off. And yeah, there's some positive signs for Croatia in the last couple of possessions. Got to just knuckle down, 1 minute 30, go into the quarter in a positive frame of mind.
Well, we all know it's a game of momentum. It looked as though everything was dropping for Russia, but they've missed a few shots in a row now. And Croatia have made a few in a row. And the free throw is good, though, for Yevgenia Balakova.
And Balakova, when she's on the floor, you know there's points available.
Now can Croatia keep scoring with Siglar? Going
Nice
all the way through. Lovely pass put in by Ivankovic. So they have found some offensive momentum.
Well, Ivankovic and Sliskovic giving themselves some quality time, some inside options. Now, Coach Turic finds someone on the perimeter, on your bench who wants to take the open shot, wants to try and extend this floor.
Kirilova putting it up. Another miss for Russia. And a chance for Croatia to close the gap even further. They're going to be down at the end of this first quarter, but they could very well go into the first break positive. Siglar. Sliskovic, who's been part of this little rally from Croatia. Off the mark, though, from the perimeter by Miloglav. And they can't save it as it bounces out of bounds over on the far side.
Well, because of the way that the momentum and tempo of the game has developed, Croatia have had some good looks. They've missed shots you'd expect to players at this level to make a percentage of. This could be an intriguing second quarter if Croatia can start knocking down some perimeter shots.
Vadiva can't get on the board. And the 16-year-old still waits for her first EuroBasket points. Here's Siglar. 10 seconds remaining in the first. Croatia could close the gap to 7 or even 6. Siglar's going to take it on herself. A little bit too long. And the rebound, Vadiva. Here's the chance to get a shot away. Not in time for Epiphany Prince, who did make a 4-point play earlier on in the game when it looked as though everything for Russia was going down. But Croatia have fought back a little. Russia's lead is 22-13 at the end of one.
Well, those statistics, 50%, 50%, 100%, you know, you're going to be comfortable with those. Massive rebound advantage, 6 assists already. That was the early part of the game. But Coach Miskin here, like the thing for Russia is they normally work their way into tournaments, but they look a little bit too relaxed at the moment. And if Croatia could knock down some of those perimeter shots, it's still going to be a very, very big ask. But Coach Turic, nothing to lose. Find someone who's going to make shots. As we see Izovic make that 3. I mean, Prince answered it, but Verzic with the ankle injury is really just, the whole atmosphere was a little flat anyway. But you could see the belief almost drain out of the Croatian lineup as she was lifted off the court.
Croatia were already having to fight in the face of adversity before the opening game. It couldn't have been a worse start for them. It took them a while to readjust after that, the shock of the injury, but they have started to find their flow. Sliskovic, a key part of that. 8 points in that first quarter for Iva Sliskovic.
Well, Sliskovic has been a factor for the Croatian national team for the last few championships. Has had a successful role coming off the bench. And really does know how to contribute at this level. She's going to have to play a lot of minutes. That's the that'll be the concern coaching-wise. You know, how many? If she has to do that for 4 games, it's going to be a tough ask for Sliskovic.
10.3 points per game in qualifying, 10.5 points per game in the 2013 EuroBasket, and already 8 points in the first quarter here. We're about ready to get the second quarter underway. Branislav Turic, the Croatian head coach, will be at least a little more positive after the way Croatia finished the first quarter.
As a coach, you want to look down your bench and see options. And that's where you've got to really feel for him now. He's in a hole, but he's looking down the bench, and I'm not sure he sees options. It's really going to stretch him. He's going to have to try and manage the people on the floor. And this is what you'd want Russia to do in this situation. Defensively, really step it up and try and really impose themselves on the game. And not just accept that Croatia is struggling because of their problems.
Sliskovic trying to find Ivankovic inside, and a foul called. Anatoly Moishkin and his team fairly relaxed, and good reason to be at the moment, but they can't allow complacency to creep into their game at this stage. Croatia still have plenty of weapons to try and hurt them. Too long the shot from Iva Siglar, but an offensive board here for Slišković, who keeps on going.
That's a beautiful finish as well. Aggressive rebound, went up strong and had the ability and the touch to get that little jump hook going. 7-point game. Slišković on her own, dragging Croatia back into contention.
Prince onto the corner, wide open three is long, and a rebound grab by Ivankovic. So Croatia could close the gap even further here. Todoric looking to go all the way. A little too overzealous perhaps, and Russia able to control the defensive rebound.
Why didn't Slišković get the ball? Wide open. Could have just dropped the ball to her to actually make the two.
Prince over to that far side. Lovely fake on the pass and put in by Sapova.
Sapova's another one of these players who struggle with her. She arrived in the national team with a lot of fanfare. And again, has some injury issues, another knee problem. She looks a quality player all round.
Lovely move from Iva Siglar, answering back to that three from Russia. The problem for Croatia is they've got to fight so hard on each and every play, and if Russia come up the court to make one big shot like they just did, it can be quite demoralising, but Croatia have to just keep on going. Prince is going to try and hit another big one. Short this time and out of bounds off. It looked like Siglar. And it is going to be Croatian ball.
Jancic is the latest of the players coming off that bench. You've got to hope for Coach Turic's perspective. He finds someone who can play at this level under this national team pressure. One of these players is going to come off the bench and make shots.
Miloglav across to Jankic over on the far side, back inside to Ivankovic, who is penalised for the offensive foul. When it's not going your way, it's not going your way.
I'd like to see it again because Jankovic has made the same move last 3 times and hasn't got the whistle from the official. Not going to get a replay of it. Obviously, the official was right anyway, so.
Here's Prince. Moving it inside, it's congested in there. Faced by 2 or 3 red shirts, the foul called on Slišković.
Foul number 12, Ivan Slišković, their second personal foul.
It's been a game with a real storyline so far, and the injury to Jelena Ivazic, a key part of that in the opening chapter of the story, if you like, making it so difficult. Croatia left having to hope it turns into a fairy tale for them.
The one thing you've got to say now about the Croatians is that they're forcing Russia to try and run some half court. They're forcing them. They're not just getting. They got anything they wanted in the first few minutes of the game. And on the back of, Slišković scoring, Ivankovic getting some joy on the inside, they've found a way to get a foothold in the game. And so, take some credit for it. Be positive if you're Coach Turic now, and see if you can build into the game.
A little bit slow, a little bit bitty, a little bit flat. I don't know who that favours more.
Well, it's definitely going to keep Croatia in this game. There's no rhythm to it for the Russian offense.
Knocked away from behind as Miloglav came up the court. Russia have it back with an opportunity to catch Croatia off guard, and they do have a wide open look from the far side. No good for Sapova. 7 minutes of the first half to play, an 8-point Russian lead. It's been as many as 15. And Croatia could cut it to 5 here. Shot no good for Slišković that time, who is already in double figures with 10. Foul called though on Sapova.
That's a nice move by Slišković. She got the defender on the long closeout, a little off balance there. He gets her in the air. And Sapova walked in underneath. The whistle was a little late, but the whistle was correct. Slišković will find herself on the free throw line, and wow, she's having just a great game in terms of taking on the responsibility for this whole Croatian team.
When they need somebody to carry the team in the most difficult situation, she is certainly stepping up to do that. Iva Slišković. 12 points in the game now. They have reduced a 15-point Russian advantage to 6. all of a sudden it's become a close game. Off the backboard, no good initially, but put back in by Natalia Vieru.
Well, Sliskovic needs a little help here because no one boxed anyone else out. She found herself 1-on-3 on the glass, and obviously Vieru gets the offensive rebound. So, like, someone's got both ends of the floor. She needs some help.
Mila Glav to Sliskovic and Siglar. And she can't help out Sliskovic. An air ball from Siglar. Not back into the Croatian hands, though, and here's Siglar looking to spot the gap and get through. The foul called. She couldn't quite get the basket as well, but Croatia certainly showing spirit and showing fight.
Well, and that's the thing I think we've got to remember here in terms of... Siglar has played here in Hungary last year. That's a Europe Cup team and done a really decent job. And you've got people playing across in EuroLeague teams. Sliskovic playing in Italy for Brete Familia. Mazic in Turkey. It's not as if these guys have just come out of here with... They've got to play with that confidence. It's an opportunity. That's the only way to look at this. This is an opportunity for this team. They're down just by 6 again. They're right in this on the scoreline. You know, no one looking at this will see that Russia should be struggling, but Croatia are finding a way to make this game in the tempo, and I think Sliskovic she should stay down for a while because it looked a flop to me.
And the 2 points good for Vieru. Talk about her needing some help. She's 5 of 6 from the field. The rest of the team is 3 of 16.
And Ivankovic needs to come back quickly because there's not a lot of rotation on the inside. And Tijkovic, number 15, could get in. But nice move to the hoop.
Eva Siglar starting to step up to help out her teammate as well.
Her second personal foul. Subject Russia, number 8, Elena Kirillova.
And Siglar at the line with a chance to add to her 4 points. And 3 assists in this first half for Siglar as well. They need all of their more experienced players to step up here. Can't quite get the rebound off the missed free throw. And the difference is 7. Kirillova. Osipova. Belekova closed down very tightly. Some diligent defense from the Croatian side. They are fighting for the cause, but a foul in the end.
This is an interesting championships for Alina Osipova because she's been on this Russian team for a number of years now, never quite in a leading role. And whereas now she's starting in this game, the expectation is there. Be interesting to see how she fills that role.
Now here come Croatia with a chance in transition, and Eva Siglar continues in the ascendancy. 7 points now for her, reduces the arrears to just 5. Belekova, midway point of the second quarter. Belekova with a wide open 3, just shuts down that Croatian momentum.
Well, Belekova, we said you have to make her dribble the basketball. You can't let her get a feet set. Just shoots great percentages unless you make her dribble the ball.
Siglar again. Another one for Eva Siglar. So Sliskovic and Siglar combining for 21 of Croatia's 26 points so far. Vieru with the pass inside to Osipova. Can't get it to go first time, second time no good either. And out of bounds, it's going to be Croatia ball. They're only down by 6 and they have possession.
Well, if Osipova was going to be that starting 4-5 player for Russia, they've got to be give me points for us. And nice cut, used the body really well. And this just missed a little bunny from 2 feet. And if there looks, even in this early stage of this competition, if there looks a little bit of an Achilles heel for this Russian team, the quality of what they're doing on the inside it's not the same quality of what they have on the perimeter.
Siglar. Under the basket, thrown away by Mazic.
Beliakova did a great job not over-helping then, just played the passing lane.
Well, they can't afford is to give the Russians possession and turn the ball over like that, but no harm done this time around. And a foul on Beliakova. It still seems a little flat, and it's been that way since that huge 15-point Russian lead, but it's a flatness that's benefiting Croatia now, because slowly but surely they're chipping away at that lead, and they have a chance to get even closer here with Iva Borovic at the line.
Well, if this is one of those scenarios, isn't it? You're in a hole, you can't miss your free throws, but Borovic, again, played for Coach Turic club-wise. She'll know exactly what his expectations are. If she can just find a free throw, get herself in rhythm, and then you're looking at this team, and if the Russians will rue not keeping the intensity level up if this Croatian team make a game of this. Because as we said, might not just be the win-loss, it could be points difference.
Well, they have already made a game of it, at least in this first half. Osipova in a real battle with her opposite number, Slišković, who's been the standout performer in this Croatian comeback for Coach Branislav Turic.
Oh, she's the story, isn't she? Both ends of the floor. She played great, solid defense then. Has her points, 12 already.
Jankic spots a gap and drives between three of them, and a foul called, so the 20-year-old Ružica Jankic will go to the line to close the gap even further.
Well, that's, again, what you want to say. Okay, was it a clean block? It looked like body contact to me with a slow motion, so the referee's obviously right anyway. But aggressive move, attack space, looking for high percentage shots. And Bereska won the Croatian championship. 5 players on this team, they're used to winning games. Must make you free throws, though. Sorry to sort of ruefully smile at it. Just step up and shoot the free throw.
Croatia 7 of 12 from the line, 58%. Here's Prince.
Tough move.
Able to bank it in.
That's what Prince has shown all year in European competition. Her ability to score. That's a tough move off the dribble.
Final 3 minutes of the first half in the opening game of the Women's EuroBasket 2015 for Russia and Croatia. It's been an intriguing first half, to say the least. 3 off the mark from Siglar. Offensive board, though, and Siglar gets a chance inside and cuts it to 4 again. Siglar into double figures to join Slišković as well now for Croatia. Beliakova finding Osipova. Beliakova again, those two combining back and forth. That's going to be a 2, both feet on the line for Kirilova.
That's Kirilova basketball, spotting up, getting off the inside-outside option. She had a great 2011 championship. Lots of stars and talent on that Russian team, and she was the MVP. Knocked
away from Mazic. Turnover for Croatia. That's not the way they want to finish this first half with 2 minutes remaining. It would be so demoralising now if Russia opened up a double-digit gap again. Prince can't take advantage of that turnover, though, and here come Croatia in transition. Siglar can't finish, but a foul.
Well, Siglar took a little while to find her offensive rhythm, as provided the second scorer for this Croatian team. If they could get, Jankovic back in the game to score, if they could find someone else, get third scorer in the game, then, well, this would be a huge upset. I mean, this is an upset on an upset. This is just half a Croatian team with their best player injured, beating a Russian team that believes it's back to the top level. But that's what the tradition and history of Croatian basketball is all about. You're gonna come here with the expectation to be competitive. And Siglar's really beginning to look the part, and she knows she's going to have to play 36, 37 minutes here.
The game's leading scorer now with 13. When it looked as though it could have been an absolute blowout, Croatia have fought and fought, and they're within 4 again. Belekova, now Prince. A minute and a half of the first half remaining. Kuzina going to put it up from downtown and put it in.
Well, Kuzina does have that ability at the 4 spot to really extend the floor. Same principle, make her put it on the floor. She won't go past you, but she can shoot it.
Borovic with a difficult shot, no good. And the rebound for the 16-year-old Vadiva. It could be quite a pivotal final minute for this first half. Especially if this goes down for Belekova. No. Rebound grabbed by Ivankovic. And here comes Jankic. Siglar. Inside and then back out to the wide open Borovic, who can't hit the 3.
Nice offense though, inside, outside, create the wide open look.
And Russia with a wide open shot of their own, no good for their number 5, Belekova. 7-point Russian advantage. And around a 5-second differential between shot and game clock at the end of the first half. Siglar. It's another wide open shot from the perimeter. In and out this time. They're battling for the offensive board with Ivankovic. Can't grab it. And that's an absolute dagger at the buzzer from Marina Kuzina. When Croatia had fought back to within 4, all of a sudden it's a double-digit Russian lead again. Croatia punished for not making their open looks on the perimeter. Russia make one. And you see what it means to Anatoly Moishkin. The Russians lead by 10 at the half, 42-32.
welcome to the court, Galaxy Rock and Roll Club.
Well, there are the statistics. Croatia fought their way back into that game. You've got to give them a lot of credit. The 2 threes by the Russians deep in that second period, as Kuzina came off the bench and knocked down the threes, have broken the back a little bit of the game again. But when they were 15 down, the Croatians would have taken that, we think. So Stigar stepped up with 13. Sliskovic was the story, though. She was the player who almost single-handedly turned things around for Croatia. Remains to be seen how bad Ivazic's ankle injury is. When we get an update on that, we'll make sure we let you know. But without Ivazic, Croatia have found a way to get back into this game. And Russia have only themselves to blame in some ways, because they played a little soft and almost played with a little bit too much complacency, which allowed Croatia to get back in the game. But with Belekova, they always had the perimeter threat. But too many inside options, unopposed really, for the Russians, gave them the chance to have the early lead. So both impressive by Russia, but how good they had to be to score those points. But this young Croatian player, Sliskovic, just played with so much passion, so much skill. And when Stigar started to play, they didn't actually deserve to be 10 down at the end. It's still going to be a tough ask. And as I say, I don't know how that Ivazic's ankle is. We'll have to find out for you. But that could decide the future for Croatia in this tournament. But if Sliskovic does this, there's always hope.
They had 2 or 3 open looks from downtown, maybe even 4 towards the end of that second quarter. They finished the half 1 of 7 from three-point range, and then Russia make a big one at the buzzer. So demoralising for Croatia.
And the one they made with the Ivazic one early in the game.
And the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, and none of those threes were under pressure as well. They were wide open looks. And at this level, you've got to be shooting 35+% from that three-point line. And on open looks, it should be better. If they'd have made 1 or 2 of those, they're right in this game. They don't have to shoot 60, 50%. 20% would have helped them. 25, 30% would have meant that they're right in it.
Well, Russia are doing that. 7 of 17 for over 40% from downtown.
And Russia, it's almost, you're not going to find out anything about Russia level-wise in this game now. It's more about their mentality and approach. We are going to find out what Croatia have for the tournament, which will set the tone for them for the next 3 games.
Well, Epiphany Prince leads the way in scoring for the Russians. She's hit 2 of those 3-pointers, 2 of 3 from beyond the perimeter for 11 points, 3 assists as well for her. And Russia at half-time lead by 10, 42-32. Welcome back to the Arena Savaria in the second match of Group C at the Women's EuroBasket 2015. Russia leading by double digits at the start of the second half, 42-32. The two leading scorers in the game are on the Croatian roster, but Russia have had 11 points from Epiphany Prince, 4 of 7 from the field, 8 points apiece for Yevgenia Balekova and also for Natalia Vieru, who's 4 of 4 from the field, and Balekova 2 of 8 from the field, but both of those coming from downtown. And certainly worth mentioning Irina Osipova, who's had 8 rebounds and 4 assists in that first half. The two leading scorers in the game, the 13 and 12 points respectively for Iva Siglar and Iva Slišković for Croatia, but they have 25 of Croatia's 32 points. We said that players needed to step up to fill the void of the injured Croatian players, which have been added to in that first half, with Jelena Ivazic going down in the first minute. Well, those two have stepped up, but they need some support from the supporting cast in the second half.
Well, they do, and as we said, there's precious little to lose and a great opportunity for players to, this is normally you have to work your way into a roster with experienced players. There are some players here for the first time who got a chance to play big minutes and make an impression. That's what I'd like to see from Croatia in this third quarter, and Slišković showed the way. As one of the more experienced players, she's given them a foothold in this game. And they get the start they wanted with a turnover from Russia.
A double dribble called, so Croatia can make it a single-digit game again. It was a demoralising finish to the first half for them. They'd fought back to within 4 points from 15 down on several occasions, and then came a big 3 at the end of the half at the buzzer to make it a 10-point Russia lead.
Well, there's that high-low play again, and you've got to hope that they try and milk that a little bit more, and because Ivankovic is a big target down low, and Slišković is good enough to find her. Until Russia find a way of stopping it, just keep milking it. Great work on the glass, though.
Siglar couldn't hit from downtown. Here's Prince, the leading scorer for the Russians. Moved on by Osipova. They'll put this one up from the outside. Little short, rebound grabbed by Ivankovic. And Croatia with another opportunity to get within single digits again. Stripped away though, and here come Russia quickly in transition. Foul is going to go on Todoric. And it's an intriguing start to this second half, because if Russia start to make this lead any bigger, well, that could almost spell the end for Croatia. If Croatia can get a couple of baskets, they can get close again, they can make it really nervy for Russia.
Well, it's one of those situations now where if Croatia can keep it around the 6, 8, 10, even 12, they're going to approach the fourth quarter thinking, hey, we're not out of this. And then they will have a nothing to lose type scenario where they may go out there and just play. But as you say, if Russia go on a 10-2, 8-4, whatever, build it to 16, 18 points, that's going to seem like a very big margin for Croatia.
Inbounded by Prince. Vieru left unguarded on the perimeter.
And you mentioned the threes that really hurt. You would hope that in that halftime locker room it was like, hey, we got down 15, we're down 10. We found a way to get back. They made a couple of threes, but they should have tried to put a positive on that. Because at this level, people are going to make shots, but they, after a really poor start, they got themselves back into this game. And that's what they should be focusing on right now.
Balekova, the pass inside, and it will drop for Natalia Vieru, who's now 5 of 5 for 10 points. Siglar. Back to Slišković, and inside, no good for Ivankovic.
Well, Ivankovic quite rightly looked at the officials. Looked like she got a little bit of a bump, but regardless of whether she got a bump or not, that's got to be 2. The official calls it, should be looking for the extra 1. She was so deep. So much quality down there. She's just got to finish that play.
Besides Iva Siglar and Iva Slišković, the leading scorer, the third leading scorer for Croatia, is still Ivazic, who hit 3 in the opening 10 seconds and then went off injured inside the opening minute. That's lovely play from Russia, and Vieru is now 6 of 6 from the field.
Well, Osipova enjoying herself that little cheeky pass. No-look bounce pass from the 5 spot. Not the most common occurrence.
The lead has grown to 14, and this is where it becomes a real concern for Croatia.
All a
pass
bit
off
frantic.
the mark as well. And
Tim, like we were talking about who needs to step up and who can give it. Ivankovic throughout that whole offense never even looked to catch the basketball. A couple of times she's posted up, she's either been fouled or got the ball down there. Until someone stops her, she should want it every single time down the floor. And she just wandered on that. She may get frustrated with a no call, play through it, play the next play. Someone needs to be the third scorer, and she's the most likely option.
Balekova had the ball over on the far side. And she's made a decent contribution with 8 points in the game as well. And out goes Vieru, who's now the leading scorer for Russia. 6 of 6 from the field and a couple early in this second half. Here's the 16-year-old still waiting for her first points.
I think she just told what senior basketball was all about, because Ivankovic just didn't even let her get off the floor.
Welcome to the EuroBasket. Todoric getting inside. It's just not happening for Croatia.
Well, after giving Ivankovic a hard time for not asking for the ball, she was wide open on every single pass, and they didn't give her a look on that one. It's like the old, it's like the performing seals. You know, if you don't give them a fish, they stop performing. If you don't give Ivankovic the ball, she's not going to ask for it every time. And with the circumstances Croatia in now, you've just got to give her touches.
Prince can't finish, but Russia are on a 10-0 run since the last couple of minutes of the second quarter. Croatia needs something to go. Siglar is tripped by Osipova. Again, they need their experienced players to dig them out of a hole.
Foul number 12. Osipova, her second personal foul.
Caught by that outstretched right leg of Irina Osipova.
They just need to tick it over. They haven't scored. They need to get the scoreboard ticking over, almost with a steal with Prince.
And they've already come from 15 down to get within 4. It's certainly not beyond them. And they can't hit again, though, and Prince will come away with it for Russia. And this is a chance to make it largest lead of the game. Nice pass inside, and there's the first points for Maria Vadiva. And not just 2, but a chance at a 3-point play for the 16-year-old.
She just outworked everybody on the floor. Around the halfway line, she saw the opportunity to run. She just went to a second gear, which she hasn't shown yet. And then just got ahead of the break, got the ball, 3-point play.
The MVP at the Under-16 Euros last year had a phenomenal output of 17.9 points per game, 16.2 rebounds per game.
That's a rebound number, isn't it? 16.
Slišković going to work in the paint again. Can't get the better of her opposite number, Osipova.
That's good defense by Osipova. Osipova trying to force her to go to the left hand, and she went to the right, but Osipova being there really challenged the shot.
Balekova pops in and out, and grabbed by Siglar. Well, the lead is 17, and that just sums it up right now for Croatia.
Foul number 21, Donkey.
You just wonder how long they leave it for a timeout. Well, there's your answer.
Well, he was just getting no offensive production. He's just got no way of finding ways to score. Slišković is the only one who's had a wide open look apart from the Ivankovic layup that she missed. The rest have all been tough shots and tough asks. Well, Siglar, as the caption says, with 13 points, she hasn't got anything to drop in this second half. And they've gone pointless for the first 4 minutes. Yet they're still only 17 down. It's not as if Russia have just run away with it. But Slišković, they've worked her out a little bit. Ivankovic doesn't see the ball. I think they're going to struggle just to get enough points production unless they get things off their defense. And with their lack of resources, I don't think they'll be able to do that. So we'll see where they end up.
Well, what they need to do, the first hurdle is back-to-back baskets.
Absolutely.
Really. You've got to try
get a stop. Yeah, get a stop, and then score again, and you're in the credit. Mazic has come back into the game, and she didn't really contribute in that first period. 0 for 5 on her nearly 11 minutes of basketball. And she's a better player than that. Maybe she'll get into the rhythm of the game as this second half develops.
Epiphany Prince at the line, hits the first. A big boost to this roster as a naturalized player, born in New York. And gets them both and is now the leading scorer in the game for Russia with 13. Milo Glav on to Borovic. Mazic on to Milo Glav again inside. Won't go for Mazic. And nothing will go for Croatia right now. Thrown away on half court to Jankic though. Here is Jankic, chance at a three, goes inside instead, and it wouldn't quite come for Mazic. Knocked away out of bounds, still going to be Croatia ball.
Well, that sums up Mazic's night, because on the pick and roll, she recognized the early show, slipped beautifully, and then just panicked a little on the shot, didn't get herself balanced. And like she could become a scorer here. Someone else needs to score for this Croatian lineup.
Milo Glav. Looking to try and take on that scoring responsibility, perhaps. Goes across to Todoric, who hangs it off the glass, won't go down. And now
someone else is down.
Eva Todoric has gone down hurt as well.
Quite rightly, the officials have got to let the game go here. She's not in danger.
And just to rub salt in the Croatian wounds, knocked down by Kirilova. The Russians are running away with it now. And Croatia, when you feel it can't get any worse for them,
it does.
They have another injury to deal with, quite unbelievable. They're down by 18, and they've had 2 players injured in this game to add to a pretty long list of their stars in the build-up to the tournament.
Well, they came here with 11, they're now down to 9. I made a comment earlier on in the day to some of our co-people here in terms of covering this tournament. And it was like an Ocean's 11 quote, and then I said, well, as long as you don't get down to the Magnificent 7, and they're down at 9, and they're having to go deep onto the bench, and this is more than a test of character now. This is a survival situation for Croatia. They've still got quality people on the floor where they're playing the group favorites.
Well, it's again another opportunity for some of those young players to step up and play big minutes.
And that's the way to look at it. If you're a young player now, it's like most of the time you'll sit there and saying, didn't play enough, want to play more. This is your chance to play. Baptism of fire, yep, this is your chance to play, though. Great block.
The problem is, in terms of this second half, they've gone over half of the third quarter without a score. They were on 32 at halftime, they still are.
Well, you've almost got to come down the floor and you have nothing in transition, get Ivankovic down low deep and see if she can do something with the basketball. But she's now wandering on the foul line. She's got to come to the ball and want it in the post.
Here's Begic, looking to spin into a crowded paint. Can't get the first one to go. Couldn't grab the rebound either, and Prince will come away with it. And they're short at the back now here as Prince dishes it off. And the trail comes from Vadiva, who gets a chance at another three-point play.
This is tough to watch in many ways because Croatia, with its basketball heritage and tradition, it's an unachievable task. And we said at the beginning it might help them. It's the first game. That would have been if everybody had been healthy. Now they're faced with a real adversity situation, and it's all very well us saying, it's a good test of character. It is an opportunity for young players. That's the only positive you can take out of this. Ivankovic needs a touch. She's got to get it. Gets it deep.
And on the spin, it goes for Ivankovic. First score of the second half comes 6 minutes and 10 seconds into the third quarter.
Well, Ivankovic could have a career night here if she just gets herself deep, camps, and asks for it. And quite rightly, the Croatians have to show a zone. They're going to just running out of resources.
And it is only 4 points for Ivankovic so far. 8 rebounds. I suppose worst case scenario for Croatia, you say it's just part of the learning process for this team and for those young players.
But the tough thing about, when you're Croatia, you don't like this type of learning process. Your history says you're a major basketball nation. And it doesn't matter however adversity you're faced with here, you don't like, this isn't something where you say, I'm getting a positive. It's a tough, tough ask. Ivankovic should have just laid that one up, didn't recognize where the defense was, and then got to go and earn them from the free throw line.
Foul on Vadiva, who's getting her opportunity to play big minutes at the age of just 16. First one good for Ivankovic.
And there'll be a lot of frustration in this Croatian team, because Ivankovic has been here when they qualified for the Olympic Games, when they were down to the last 8 in a EuroBasket, one of the competitive teams. And she's going to find this tough, and she's got to show some leadership now as an experienced player, and hopefully some of these younger players will take the opportunity that's there for them to get quality minutes at a EuroBasket women.
And she's a player that averaged a double-double in the EuroLeague last year for Novi Zagreb.
Well, what an investment that the Russians are making in Vadiva. There's probably players that are more experienced than everything else. But if you've got that talent that you think can play in the future, you've got to make that investment now. Other countries should look and look at that. And if you've got someone of that nature, get them into this environment and get them in as early as you can.
And it's the perfect scenario for her to play big minutes here when they're up big. And against a really struggling Croatian side, why not give them the chance?
She'll have plenty of opportunities in age group basketball to dominate like she did at the under-16s. This is such a great learning environment to be around those older players as well.
Vadiva goes into the center again. It comes to Prince on this side, who will get it to rattle around the rim and drop.
That's why I think Prince is going to be very effective for this team off the point guard spot. When she goes to the scoring, shooting guard spot, she's got a lot to offer this lineup. This is going to be a 30-point game pretty much at the end of the third if it carries on this way.
Siglar able to get that one to go. And now has 15 in the game. And the lead, though, is 24. Final couple of minutes of the third quarter in towards Vieru. And she's having a wonderfully efficient game, 7 of 7 from the field.
That's a nice hook shot as well. Nice little seal to the inside, to the baseline, came back, nice hook.
Siglar into Slišković. They can't make anything of that. Largest lead of the game, and the way it's looking, you just think it's going to grow and grow. Slišković almost knocking it away. This is Kirilova moving it inside to Vadiva. And the three a little long, but an offensive board for Vieru. 3 from this side now from Kirilova. Can't quite recover the second offensive board, and Croatia have the ball back. Out goes Jelena Kirilova. Final minute of the third. And the opening game for these two at the 2015 Women's EuroBasket. Live on livebasketball.tv and wherever else you might be watching today. It's been comfortable so far, for the most part, for Russia.
Well, Namak picked up the foul. This is her first period of time on the game, the 22-year-old from Spartak. And this is the opportunity it gives. Later in the tournament, these are long, long tournaments. If you can get minutes into players, then when you need them later in, they're ready. They've had the experience. They've got over those first game nerves. And who knows how deep this Russian team might have to go into the bench if this tournament progresses. But Siglar on the line, you've got to take your hat off to her. She's done a marvelous job, 17 points personal. She hasn't sat down yet. And, she's had great times with this Croatian national team. This is an adversity time, and she's shown a lot of leadership.
Borovic. And here is Siglar again in towards Slišković. Twisting and turning and trying to find a route to the rim. Gets a second opportunity. Back out to Borovic. And Siglar will take her time with 10 seconds still remaining on the shot clock. She's done really well to get a good look and really should have done better at the rim. Final seconds of the third quarter. And a whistle to stop the play. I
think it's a blood. Wow, they're already working on Ivicic's ankle. She's not looking very pleased with them working on it either.
You just wonder, you talk about Eva Siglar playing such long minutes. Does Braslav Turic decide at which point then to take her out and rest her?
Well, that is his question. In the sense that without Siglar, they're going to struggle against anybody. And then again, you know, they will get a day off because they're the only Great Britain are going to go for. Only 2 teams in this tournament will go 4 games straight. But they will get a day off. And he's going to have to use her and milk her as long as he can.
The Russian lead has grown and grown and grown. They lead by 26 at the end of 3. And it really couldn't have been any worse for Croatia. Down big and a couple of injured players. At the end of 3, it is Russia 65, Croatia 39.
Well, that's not a line. That's not a score line that you would normally expect to see at this level of basketball with Croatia and Russia. Russia's numbers are reasonable. They're winning every stat line. 17 assists as a coach. You always love to see the number of high on assists. Croatia haven't turned the ball over a lot. They just can't score. They've struggled to make open shots. And they're just in a very limited, it's damage limitation, limited resources. They are really struggling to really make anything happen. And the start of that third quarter in particular, what is it, 6 minutes or so before they got their first points, game over.
6 minutes and 10 seconds to score the first points, and that was it from there. It was already damaging enough, the three-pointer at the buzzer at the end of the first half to make it a 10-point game. We talked about the three-point shooting in the first half. 1 of 7 Croatia. They went down big at the start of the third quarter. They only took 1 three-point shot attempt in the whole of that quarter.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of the things about Croatian and Croatian basketball, if they don't have those options, they won't take those options. And the tough ask for them then is their scorers, Sliskovic in particular on the inside, just means the whole space is cramped and congested. It's one of those things. Where does Coach Turic look? He's got limited options. Ivankovic is the only consistent option he has, but he can't use it enough. And Sliskovic, they've worked her out. She always wants to go to that right hand over the left shoulder, and they've stopped that. And so she's had a challenge in, should we say, third period, being scoreless. It's just a tough ask. We could dress it up however we want. Russia are potential medalists. Croatia here with no one that you'd expect them to have on the floor when they are a competitive team.
Start of the final quarter with Croatia down by 26 against Russia. Here's Sliskovic. Falls down under the challenge of Ksenia Tikhanenko.
Another one of the younger players, even though she's 22. That shows you how much faith that this Russian organization has in Vadeeva, bringing her in at such a young age. Because Tikhanenko has been in all their age group programs and only gets a chance at 22.
Good look, and finished off by Anna Maria Begic. So having taken over 6 minutes to score in the third, it's only taken 20 seconds in the fourth.
That's Begic's first minutes, I think, as well. Gets on the score sheet, you always like that, should calm her down.
Beglova. Tikhanenko with the little pass off to Sapova, who gets that one to go.
That's why Sapova is so tough. I mean, that's a really decent move from the 3 spot. Nice finish. Would have been a nice finish if Begic had actually got set, but Sapova just took off foul line. Big second step, gets the layup away, and now it's going to go to the free throw line.
Another foul on the perimeter. Epiphany Prince made that 4-point play in the first quarter. I didn't see if they called that a 2 or a 3.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she had. She may have had her feet on the line. Let's see what if there are 3 shots. So a 3's helpfully putting up the right number.
Ludmila Sapova at the line.
I've always liked Sapova. I've always thought Sapova had the real potential, as we said earlier on in the game. Limited a little bit by a couple of injuries, but the Kirsch forward is, still looks every inch a three-spot player. She's got that athleticism, got the ability to shoot the ball. Defensively, she can be very, very daunting for her opposite number.
Makes all three from the line. And they're closing in on a 30-point lead. And they might just get there here. Beglova coming up court, and then Kuzina. And it is indeed 31 that the Russians lead by, with still 9 minutes to play. Borovic. Mazic moving it on to Miloglov, inside to Slišković. Close down on the baseline, able to find a bit of room and manoeuvre it very well indeed to Anna Maria Begic, who scores again.
Doesn't want to shoot the ball with her left hand to Slišković, but she found a nice pass. The Russians forced her to that way. But someone went to sleep off the ball, and Begic goes 4 quick points.
And the 3 no good, but an offensive board for Tikkanenko. This is Beglova. And then Kuzina and Namok. Turns the ball over that time. Croatia really fighting for salvaging a bit of pride in this game. How else do you dress it up if you're Branislav Turic? So easy for heads to drop in this situation.
Very easy for heads to drop, and as we said right at the beginning, heads dropping in game 1 of the tournament. It's a tough ask for the coach, tough ask for the players, especially now with the injuries they've got. And you know, historically, Luka Vankovic, you know, she's not a big minute player in terms of every single game, week in, week out. So one of the more experienced players, they're going to have to manage her. I mean, Siglar's had 17 points. Slišković hasn't scored the second half, though, which shows you the issue they have. In that 12 points and a half for Slišković is a bonus against Russia anyway.
And presumably, if those injuries are as bad as they appear to be, Coach Turic will have to find a new way of playing in little to no time at all.
Ivazic seemed very, very sore when she went down. Now, it's an ankle. You can, if they're not too dramatic, you know, tape and play, but she's going to be very, very sore. And in some ways, tomorrow's going to be worse for her in terms of the pain she'll be in. So, you know, the schedule of games is something I think they're going to have to look at.
It was already a short-handed roster, not just in terms of the quality of the players, but in terms of the numbers, because they only started with 11.
Yep. Well, they need a few more. The banks are open late, as they say. A little bit of help from whichever direction.
Miloglov getting that one to go. Only their second three-pointer of the game. And by Tikkanenko, and knocked out of bounds by Begic. Branislav Turic led the team to this tournament with a 100% record in qualifying. His only previous coaching experience with the national side came at the Under-18s European Championships a couple of years ago. And he's certainly having his coaching now tested here, to say the least, in Hungary. Timeout called.
This is where Coach Turic has to help his team get through these last 6 minutes. There's no point saying we'll do this or whatever. He's got to find a way to give them something to get into. As you quite rightly say, he might have to find a different way. So if nothing else, put something out there on the floor that they can actually focus at least on trying to run. I don't think there's much point in trying to mix up his defense or anything like that at this point, but try and put something on the floor. These players will try and execute and try and get some. Very difficult to get anything positive in this situation, but try and at least demonstrate that you can execute stuff, because they're playing Russia, possible group favorites when they came in. You know, Latvia, as we saw early on, they may have some injury issues as well. Great Britain haven't taken the floor yet. So ironically, this game means nothing in terms of the overall where Croatia might finish in the tournament. Third place is all you need to progress. That would be a huge achievement for this team. And it's about trying to find a way that's going to be effective. Not necessarily now with Russia, but definitely when you step on the floor against Latvia, step on the floor against Great Britain, and step on the floor against Serbia, because throw out the stats when you play the local derbies. So there's a lot here for Croatia to try and get out of this game.
We talked about Serbia, who won by 16 earlier on today. 2 years ago, lost the first two games, almost went out at the first phase, ended up reaching the semi-finals. So it's certainly not all lost yet for Croatia. And if anything, I suppose the way of motivating the players for the final 6.5 minutes now is to almost treat this as a practice exercise and find the best way of playing in that game
and
too.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You know, in terms of preparation, they'll have sets that work with this lineup because they'd have worked on them in rotation. Can we run those? You know, can we get shots for these people? Sliskovic hasn't scored since the first half. You know, where did we get her the ball where she was able to score? Let's find a way of actually trying to get her the ball. And his other option, obviously, is to get other people into the game. So Todoric is going to come in, and Sliskovic sits down. So they're taking the option of getting other people into the game. They've got to find something to get out of this game.
Tikvic, the 21-year-old, coming in. This is Jankic, a 20-year-old, trying to go into the other youngster. Tikvic has been able to gather the ball here, and a foul, and will go to the line for two.
This Russian front line really enjoy challenging shots. At that time, it's Kuzina who challenged it. You know, Osipova wants to get blocks. They really do want to physically say you've got to earn them on the inside. And that's always another factor as these tournaments develop, that you need that. You can't give those easy options on the inside. So they're big enough, they're experienced enough, they've got some new talent. We've learned nothing about their level in this game. But Russia are going to go deep into this competition. How deep? Time's going to tell.
First time into the game for Ivana Tikvic, and she makes both free throws. Her first points in the final round, making her final round debut today. Russia answer back with 2 points from Kuzina, who's now into double figures.
Oh, not many minutes, because he made those threes. And
10 points in 8 minutes now for Kuzina.
That's production.
We're at the midway point of the final quarter. Russia's lead is 28, could grow it to 30 here. They move it inside to Tikkanenko, back out for the three for Kuzina, and the production gets better and better.
Well, she's 3 from 3 from out there.
Move quickly up court to Begic. 31-point Russian lead. Miloglav. Now, this is quite unbelievable. Ruzica Jankic has gone down clutching that knee.
I think, and I'm hoping, it was knee on knee.
Just an impact injury.
I think it looked dead leggish, you know, getting the knee into your thigh, which is very painful. But I think it's pain as opposed to real damage.
I'm not sure I've seen anything like this, where you have so many injury problems before.
Yeah, right in there. Point of the knee into the outside of the thigh. Anyone who's ever had that knows exactly how that feels. She'll be sore tomorrow too, but they can probably work that out.
And she's one of those players, one of those younger players, in fact the youngest on this roster that they would have hoped to get extra minutes to in this situation. So it doesn't help the preparation for game two.
Nope. Coach Turic is searching, should we say, for some solutions. Every time he looks, someone goes down.
Battling for the board was Kuzina, but knocked it straight into the hands of Borovic, who gets it back here from Miloglav. Nice pass, and there's a route to the rim for Mijana Mazic, and she's fouled on the way by Kuzina.
And again, as wide as the margin is, as not in doubt is the game, is Kuzina saying, you're not going to score. I'm not going to let you, and that's just a foul to stop the score, but there's nothing, they don't give you anything easy. That's a statement, that's what they do.
One of the most experienced at this level in the Croatian team, Mijana Mazic. And certainly with more responsibility now because of those injuries.
Well, Mazic, for the rest of this tournament, is going to have to step up. Her offensive output has been low.
And that's her first point from the line there. 7.5 points per game in qualifying, 6.8 boards.
Still hasn't made the field goal.
She's played 20 minutes.
Yep.
Lagunova, wide open on the far side, no good. And a foul under the basket. Final 4 minutes of the first game of the 2015 Women's EuroBasket for Russia and Croatia. Apart from when Croatia got close in the first half to within 4 a couple of times, Coach Turic's team, it has been a stroll in the park really for Russia.
A stroll in the park is exactly what it's been. They haven't had to get out of second gear. They've got everybody on the floor though, so in terms of the prep for the rest of the competition, it's a good exercise. They have what is traditionally a physical encounter against Great Britain to look forward to tomorrow. A little bit of some close games over the last last few years, so that'll be a physical encounter. Russia will have the advantage of being out on the floor and in the flow of the tournament. GB will come in with this will be their first day. So this is a good opportunity for Russia to get people into the game.
We talked at the start about Russia as somewhat of an unknown quantity because of the young players on the roster. Have we learned anything new about them from this game?
No, I don't think that this game will tell us anything new. Just by the way that Coach Mishkin has rotated people, he's got some fresh bodies, but he still keeps going back to the tried and trusted. The role of Vieru in particular, who's now 25, but has been a bit part player, a backup player, now becomes a lead player. Osipova is a lead player that's normally been a backup, so he's got those things to deal with. But Prince looks very much in the swing of things, so they're better for that reason. And Kurilova, MVP from 2011, hasn't really lit it up, but she makes this team look so much more stable.
I'm not sure how much good news that is for Great Britain, because they would have wanted to have scouted Russia in this game and really don't have too much of an idea about what they're going to bring tomorrow now.
No, that doesn't help, but Russia have played 8 games in preparation, and they played in Spain. That was, there'd have been no problems with anybody getting those games. They were all like televised games. So I think it'd have been more a look at how they're approaching the tournament as opposed to the scouts, so to speak. It's a really nice matchup there. That's an intriguing game for people who are thinking to plan their day on Friday. That's an intriguing matchup because size for size, they go well against each other. Perimeter-wise, and it's a very much size-for-size matchup, and it's always a physical encounter. It'll be fun to watch.
Eva Borovic has just made her first field goal with that three-pointer. We've got only 2 minutes remaining before Anatoly Mushkin's team can celebrate their first victory. Milaglav. There's Borovic. Milaglav again, plenty of space here for Mazic, and she is able to get that one to go. So a couple of baskets in quick succession for Croatia.
Well, the thing it does for people like Mazic, there's no debate now about how many minutes they're going to play. So she should be playing again. I've got to take shots. If I'm taking open shots, I'm going to stay out here.
Russia can't answer back that time. There's a chance for Croatia to put a little bit of a run together. And perhaps give them a bit more confidence. And a foul called on Kozina. And Croatia will get a chance to add to their run from the line. You can see every single game from the Women's EuroBasket 2015 live on livebasketball.tv. And many on our TV partners around the world. Certainly would urge you to tune in for that game between Russia and Great Britain tomorrow. Great Britain, the only team who've had to wait to get the tournament started. And the other 4 members of Group C playing today.
Well, Coach Miskin in shot there. He's sitting back now. I think he's going to look at this in a way where I've got out on the floor. We've had a run. Everyone's got in the game. We're in the tournament now. He's almost had a free game, the way it's turned out with the injuries, etc., for Croatia. When he saw this draw of thinking he's got Croatia opening day, that would not have been a good feel for him if they'd have had everybody fit. But now he's got everybody on the floor. He should be looking forward to the tournament.
If there's a positive to take for Croatia, they've been down by more than 30. It's 20 now. Here's Kozina. Free from mid-range, can't hit Lagunova. And we've got 40 seconds to play. Croatia could make it into the teens here, down by 20. Carmen Miloglav couldn't get a decent shot though, and that leaves the free layup for Jelena Beglova. If you're tuning in late, don't pay any attention to the score at the bottom of your screen right now. I think Bratislav Turic should be more than happy if that was the case. It's quite the opposite, 83-61 in favour of Russia.
Interesting concept, getting 207 from somewhere, but 61 points. And to be fair to Croatia, with what they had and the situation they were faced with, they've found a way to score points. And 61 points, with different people starting to score, is going to at least put them in a better position going forward in the competition.
6 now for Borovic. She's added a few in this fourth quarter. Beglova, final seconds now. Russia will keep hold of the ball, and they will pick up their first win in game 1 of the 2015 EuroBasket Women's. And comfortable it was too. Bratislav Turic had problems right from the start. It's Russia who pick up a win against the injury-ravaged Croatia. The final score, Russia 83, Croatia 62.
Well, Coach Turic in view there. You've got to feel for coaches in that situation, but that's what you've got to go through those bad times, and he's now got to go back, pick his team up, because they're back out here trying to play another 3 games in this competition. Proud country, proud team. They'll be looking to get something out of the rest of the tour. It'll be interesting to see as you see the scorers. And Siglar leads the scorers, but how bad is Jelena Ivicevic's ankle? How bad are the other injuries they picked up? They've just got to find a way to regroup, come back, dust themselves down and get back on the floor. Russia just did what they had to do today. Everyone got on the floor.
Sometimes your luck is just so bad that it almost seems funny in a way. You just have to laugh it off and say, well, look, the world's against us. Let's go and play our hearts out and see what happens.
Well, and that's what you'd hope they'd do come the preparation for tomorrow's game or the next game. You'd hope whoever was in uniform, it's like, well, we have just got to go and play for ourselves, our pride. The injured players don't want to play. Find something that puts them in a position where they contribute and they're motivated, because the Russians might be the best team in this group. They're definitely on paper better than Latvia and Great Britain. So there's still games to aim at. And it will just be interesting to see how Croatia come out. As the tournament develops, it could get harder and harder and harder. And that's the worry. That'll just set up some real key games from game 2, 3, and 4 in terms of ultimate qualification. So for the viewer, that means there's some big games coming up. If you're Croatian, it's going to be one of those horror stories, because you're going to hate every moment of this.
But you said it not too long ago, 5 teams in this group, 3 of them go through. So we've seen Serbia looking so strong. We've seen Russia having a stroll in the park today. There's still that 3rd spot to play for.
Especially as Latvia look like they have some injuries. And not only have some injuries to their leader. And Jakosone, if she's injured, if she can't play a lot of minutes, the impact of that is going to be huge. I know they were faced with a bit of foul trouble and stuff today as well, and they're not ravaged by injury like Croatia. One-off game, anything can happen. Great Britain have had their issues in scoring, not in playing defense, not in being competitive, but scoring. injury-ravaged team like Croatia, that could give them the opportunity. Tournament players, and who knows how bad Ivasic's ankle is. 2-3 days' time, she could be out there playing. They can't lose themselves in the next 2 games, though. They've got to find a way of being competitive.
We've talked about motivation. If some of the young players come in and play big minutes, they're automatically motivated. You don't have to motivate them for the biggest opportunity of their careers, and that could be a bit of a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. You would hope so. You would hope there'll be players sitting there going, well, I was expecting to back up. Now I've got a chance to play. Now that should scare them because it's a daunting prospect. But like, hey.
Or you could say there's nothing to lose.
Absolutely nothing to lose. And those players are, you know, every player that comes on a national team is used to playing lots of minutes because they're the best players on their teams. Now they're going to have a chance to play for the national team. Bring it. See what you've got. Show us what you've got. Play hard. Do it for each other. All those cliched statements, Croatia could be faced with those. Or they could get very down, feel sorry for themselves, and it's almost like we're better than this, and they could feel, if they go in with that attitude, they could end up with regularly losing by 20 points here.
So the final score in the first game for these two was Russia 83, Croatia 62. And that's it from me and Mark until tomorrow. Goodbye for now.